The Queen of Discs combines the elemental energies of water and earth, which on an esoteric level represents a blend of emotion and structure. Hello, I'm Michael J. Auger, creator of the Allcento Tarot. The combination of the elemental energies of water and earth blend to create an archetype that is both emotional and empathetic, as well as embodying a grounded sense of order and structure. The Queen of Denari, or coins, from the Visconti-Sforza Madrone Tarot, also known as the Carrie Yale deck, is depicted seated in profile facing right, and is being presented with a large golden disc. Embroidered on the clothing of her attendant is the Visconti family motto that, according to Stuart Kaplan, translates to read, "To the good belongs the right," or "on the right side of the law." This family motto proclaims their legitimate right to rule. The Visconti-Sforza Tarot is used collectively to refer to a series of decks from the mid-15th century that were commissioned by this royal family. All the decks that still exist are incomplete. The most complete version is known as the Bergamo Tarot, or the Pierpont Morgan deck. And the version of the Queen of Coins in this version is also seated in profile. However, she holds a gold disc on her lap and is facing the left. The Queen of Coins also faces left in the Marseille style tradition. And facing left suggests a conservative nature that is focused on the past and tradition. Her attention is concentrated on the gold disc she holds up to eye level, and this is the largest and most elaborately designed of all the court card discs. This suggests an archetype that is focused on the material, with the tendency to view everything from a perspective of tangible losses and gains. However, the disc she holds is far too large to be a simple coin. The suit of coins represents far more than just money, but rather all material things of the physical world, including our bodies, our health, nature, and the things we create. French esotericist Eliphas Levi said that the suit of coins represents pentacles, which are talismanic discs used in ceremonial magic that are usually inscribed with symbols. If the symbol used is a five-pointed star, the pentacle is also a pentacle. However, many occultists use these two words interchangeably, and these discs are used in ceremonial magic as tools of creation. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn described the Queen of Pentacles as having a beautiful face, one side in the light and the other in darkness, hinting at her many moods. She holds a scepter in her right hand, symbolic of her dominion over the material universe, and an orb of gold in her left hand, symbolic of earthly things. Her throne sits on a barren, sandy landscape that will blossom with vegetation only when she wills it. In many ways, this archetype is equivalent to the powers of Mother Earth. She is quiet, patient, practical, and charming. Her crest, which decorates her crown and armor, is a winged goat's head, and a goat is also by her side. The goat is a symbol of fertility and a link to Capricorn, the cardinal sign of Earth. And here's a version of this card from the deck created by Golden Dawn members Arthur Edward Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith. This version of the Queen of Pentacles is seen under a rose arbor on a hilltop, and while the background is lush with flowers, trees, mountain, fields, and river, the throne she sits on rests on ground that appears sandy, as a callback to the sandy landscape not yet transformed in the original Golden Dawn decks. Her throne is decorated with cherubs, fruits, a satyr on its side, and a goat head carved into the arm. There's also a rabbit that can be seen in the foreground hopping by. All these things symbolize fertility, abundance, and natural pleasures. This queen faces the left and looks down at a large golden disc cradled affectionately in her lap. She is both the creator and caretaker of material things. In the Thoth Tarot, created by Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris, this card is given the title Queen of Discs. Unlike the version by Waite and Smith, this depiction of the queen does not face forward, but instead looks back over her shoulder at a barren landscape, while the earth her throne sits on in the foreground is lush with vegetation. However, there is a calm, winding river that brings fertility to the sandy desert. She wears a helmet with majestic spiral horns of a mountain goat that alludes to the influence of Capricorn and the ability to climb to great heights in order to clearly see the true purpose of life. In the Golden Dawn tradition, she holds a scepter topped with a cube in her right hand, and her left hand holds an orb of interlocking loops and circles to create what Crowley calls a proper disc, and represents the ambition of matter to take part in the great work of creation. Before her, there is a goat standing on a sphere that is an additional reference to fertility and creation. This queen has a strong, nurturing, and instinctual creative power, and is the water oasis that brings the dry earth to life. Crowley describes this archetype as affectionate, kind, quiet, hardworking, and practical, but also lustful and inclined to abuse alcohol and drugs, only realizing happiness by getting outside of themselves. If ill-dignified, they can remain trapped in a life that is limited and mechanical. The general advice suggested for those signified by this card is to proceed quietly in an ordered and non-aggressive way. And here's the Queen of Discs from the Allcento Tarot. She cradles a giant gold disc in one hand, and with her other hand she holds a cup from which a red rose grows, symbolic of her tranquil enjoyment of all things. The top of her throne is decorated with a winged cherub face and fruit, symbolizing abundance and fertility. Blooming flowers can be seen behind her, yet her throne rests on barren, sandy earth, similar to the version of this card illustrated by Pamela Coleman-Smith. To her side is a bunny rabbit, symbolizing both her productive and curious nature. In the Golden Dawn tradition, one side of her face is in sunlight, while the other half is in shadow, to emphasize that there is good and bad in everybody. Although at times she can be combative and overly critical, she is most often a peaceful and nurturing caretaker. In the distance, a charming house can be seen, which she independently designed and decorated. A square and compasses decorate her throne's side, indicating she has the creative spirit of an architect. She is a rational and versatile planner, readily prepared for every contingency needed to achieve a substantial outcome. Goat heads are carved into the arms of her throne, signifying determination and achievement. The combination of water and earth energies correspond to Demeter, the Greek goddess of agriculture and fertility. This archetype has a cool and passive nature with a dry wit, but is also sensitive, empathetic, and possessing immense funds of kindness. And now, we have finished taking a closer look at each of the four queens of the tarot, but before we move on to the knights, I have a few more things I wanted to mention about the queens of the Allcento tarot. Each of the queens has a different flower in their cup that emphasize their unique characteristics. The Queen of Swords has a mystic white rose, which is a symbol of secret initiation. The Queen of Cups has a lotus, the sacred flower of Isis, and represents the quest to seek the light, purity, and beauty of the divine. The Queen of Wands has a sunflower that follows the sun with optimism, and the Queen of Discs has a red rose, symbolic of life in the physical world of structure. Animal companions also add symbolism, be it the fertility of the bunny by the foot of the Queen of Discs, the shadow side of the Queen of Wands hinted at by her black cat, the multiple animals drawn to the council of the Queen of Cups, and the lack of animal with exception to a far-off solitary bird for the Queen of Swords. Also, if you look closely, each queen has blue eyes to match the color used to highlight the rank of queen, linking to the element of water. This is a reminder that all queens include the elemental attributes of deep emotion. And another deliberate design detail is the direction each queen is looking. Each elemental combination faces its kindred opposite. The Queen of Discs, water of earth, faces the Page of Cups, earth of water. The Queen of Wands, water of fire, faces the Chevalier of Cups, fire of water. The Queen of Swords, water of air, faces the King of Cups, air of water. And the Queen of Cups, water of water, or pure water, faces forward, directly at the viewer. If you enjoy watching these videos, please be sure to let me know in the comments and give this episode a thumbs up. I truly appreciate your support. As always, I also invite you to visit my website where you can schedule tarot readings as well as browse, collect, and commission original offbeat artwork. And until next time, Brightest blessings on your spiritual journey.